What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In this video, we got a fun one for you guys tonight. It is July 26th. It's about 7 p.m. Central Time. We're doing a live best ball mini championship draft here on drafters.com. We're joined here by our good man Jesse, who's going to be drafting in the 11th spot. And then we do have another friend who's actually on the clock right now, Matt Boehm. He's drafting from the 3rd spot, so we'll monitor his team throughout the way. I got the 5 spot. But man, Jesse, what's going on, man? How are we doing?
We're doing good, man. We are in the thick of it. The grill's fired up. The wings are on.
The wings.
Football season's here.
It's training camp week. If you're not doing best balls, where are you at is essentially the question. But I'm up to pick here. I've done a lot of these, and in getting the top 5 pick, you're guaranteed to get someone you like, whether it's one of the top 3 backs or you get Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp. I love Austin Ekeler at this spot, so I'm going to go ahead and rack in Austin Ekeler. Matt Boehm did go with Justin Jefferson in the top 3, but I don't know as far as how many drafts you've been doing and where you'd like to be situated. But 11 pick, what do you feel about being at the end of the draft here?
I like turn. Turn's always a decent spot for me. I think it lets you build off a strategy more so, whereas kind of when you're in the middle, you kind of play what the board gives you more, so it's a little bit harder to formulate a strategy. But when you get those back-to-back picks, you can kind of have some fun with it. It always feels good too. Being at the end of the first, you kind of get 2, top 20 players. That always feels pretty good. And
there's kind of like for me, I don't know about you, but for me, there's kind of like a cutoff. Mid second round, like the top 18 or so picks, that's where I want to be sitting to have my 2 picks. But at 11 and 14, you're going to get probably 2 guys you really, really like. And then it's that long, slow wait to the 3-4 turn where it gets interesting. But Travis Kelce, man, he's inching up here. He went 6th in a draft I did earlier with Drake today, but 8th overall, Travis Kelce, Jamar Chase, the 3rd receiver off the board, Stephon Diggs, the 4th receiver, and Jesse's on deck. So I guess I'll let you take it away. What's your process here? Who we're going to make this pick?
I guess we just see Adams and Diggs go. For me, I feel pretty good about Dalvin Cook. He was kind of a guy that I consider maybe in my top 6. That's kind of the top 6 for me. And then after that, it's kind of a little ambiguous. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that in.
I've been taking Diggs as early as about 8, and just tinkering my projections as often as I do. This is my projection sheet here. And just when I group all the flex players, I have Diggs ranked as my 7th best player and Dalvin Cook as my 8th best player. So if you can come away with one of those guys there at the 11th spot, you're feeling pretty good about that. But Najee Harris and Swift off the board, what's the move?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back-to-back running backs here, which is not something I do often, but I'm going to go ahead and lock in Joe Mixon here.
So I gotta Mixon. I don't feel good about him in the 1st round, and I don't feel good about him being my RB1. But when you get him at the RB2, I think that's where it creates an advantage for your roster, because when he's healthy, he's guaranteed to be a top 10 back. And with the improvements to the offensive line, there's just so much going well for the Bengals offense this season. But getting Mixon and Dalvin Cook, those are both. Would it surprise you if Cook or Mixon finished as the RB1 this year? They're both going to be guys that could get upwards of 12 to 15 touchdowns, which is, I think, what Mixon got. Mixon got a lot of touchdowns last year. So
yeah, I mean, the way I see Mixon is he's like a JT light. He's probably not going to have the crazy amount of touchdowns that JT had, but you never know. I mean, if they get down to the goal line, go ahead. What do you got here?
So I'm on the board. I'm kind of talking about that 18th overall pick. Aaron Jones was the last of the Mohicans here, and as far as fringe 1st round guys, and then Debo, Mark Andrews, 15 seconds. It's Barkley, Fournette, Javonte Williams for me. I already got the running back in there. I don't feel good stuffing one of these guys in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make a curveball here. We're gonna get Javonte Williams in there at the RB2 spot, and he's another guy too. Based on roster construction, getting Javonte as your RB2, I think he's a lock to finish as a top 15 or so back. And I believe last year he was RB17. And just keep in mind, Denver's offense was garbage last year. Teddy Bridgewater going to Russell Wilson. They're going to move the ball more. There's going to be more scoring opportunities. And I just think locking in Javonte Williams, not only does he have the floor of about RB17, but if he does get more work than Melvin Gordon this year, he's going to be a top 12 running back. So I don't mind reaching on him. And basically the difference is do I trust Barkley? Do I trust Fournette? I don't know yet. I'm just betting on the upside talent here, maybe having a breakthrough season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
My last,
Matt Bain goes with Tyreek Hill. So he's got JJ and Tyreek. Let's see if he goes with Chubb or another wideout here. He goes with Chubb, which is respectable.
It's a smart pick. I mean, he's probably feeling pretty good about his team right now.
Yeah, at that point, Chubb anywhere round 3 feels pretty good. But I'm on deck here, and I got some of my favorite guys. Like we both love Michael Pittman. I think if I could get Pittman there, I would do so. But now I'm setting it up, dude. I got Austin Ekeler. Do I take one of these Chargers receivers? It's starting to formulate for a potential. Hopefully, no one's watching it, but a Justin Herbert round 4 little pickaroo there. So I'll get Mike Williams. He's for best ball. Is it no contest? Is it Mike Williams over Keenan Allen in best ball format?
Yeah, I think so.
That's not really a question.
So high.
I'm nervous about Keenan, man. Is he 30 yet?
He is on the wrong side of 30.
Keenan Allen just turned 30 in April, so he's our age. He's 1992.
We're on the wrong side of 30.
But dang, we're on the wrong side of the board here as far as receivers go. But anyways, after I take Mike Williams, you see Keenan Allen. And again, I think for preference and best ball, I'm going Mike Williams. Redraft, you can argue a little bit, especially if it's PPR. I could see Keenan, but I'm taking Mike Williams. He's got the touchdown upside. And it wouldn't surprise me if Mike Williams was like a 1,300-yard receiver on his high end. But after that, you got Allen. Both Keenan Allen, Josh Allen, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Jalen Waddle. Now Jesse's about to make his. This is a tough board here. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to. I do not want to go 3 running backs in a row. Otherwise, James Conner's sitting there looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and lock in my favorite wide receiver I see on the board. That's going to be Courtland Sutton.
Yep.
I'm sure you've talked about on your show how much you like Sutton this year and what he could do with Russell and all the narratives that are out there for him to succeed.
Well, I think we should talk about the tactic there, because the guy behind you at 12, he's got Najee and Swift. For you to take a running back there, like he doesn't want to take a running back here, but you kind of forced his hand to take Connor or ETN. So he goes and does that. So you make sure you get, he takes both of them. So it would have been nice for you to get one of those guys on the turn, but he leans full into it. So what do you go through here now at the 38th overall?
So honestly, I didn't think I would get my 2 favorite receivers left on the board, but I did. I know a lot of people. See Marquise. I think that the hammy, man. I'm nervous about the hammy. I have a lot of exposure to Marquise Brown, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Terry just because I think. Wentz coming in there is like a better situation than he had. Last year was a tough year for I think Washington in general, but prior 2 years before that, Terry was putting up some really good numbers. Was still worse quarterbacks than he has now. So I think this, Wentz has supported wide receiver once before. He can do it again.
And what Mike Pittman was wide receiver set 15-17 last year. And it's kind of the same thing I discussed with Javonte Williams. Like they had Taylor Heineke just zinging passes in there at a terrible clip. Wentz is accurate. Like he'll move the ball. They'll score more points. Terry McLaurin hopefully will set a career high in touchdowns. I think he only needs like 6 to do it. So I've been taking a lot more Terry McLaurin in the 4th round. And again, as you talked about, the more you do these, the more you want to kind of differentiate your exposure to things. But man, this is talking about stacks. Like this is setting me up for an Austin Ekeler, Mike Williams, and Justin Herbert start. Hopefully one of these Ramrods don't steal it. Marquise Brown. There goes Marquise Brown. And Jesse was talking of, this guy comes in here and he blocks the Justin Herbert. He gets Keenan Allen with his Herbert, so that's cool. Good for him. But Gabe Davis, here's Breece Hall, Juju, Allen Robinson. I think at this
I thought you had cash on you.
I've been
didn't take enough. I could have grabbed more. You didn't
this is going to be a top 25 running back. And I think in the 4th round, I'm not taking a single. I'm just taking a safe running back that I know. The first rookie running back usually has been pretty successful. And we don't expect the Jets to be a good team, but we expect them to be a better team. There's going to be growth among the offense, the defense, just continuity year 2 of that coaching staff. So I'll take Breece Hall there. Gabe Davis, Juju, Allen Robinson, these guys are more, back end of the 4th, early 5th round picks for me. So dang it, we missed the Justin Herbert stack. This guy right here with the McCam coming in here with the Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert stack. So, we'll look for another stack down the road. But it looks like Matt Bain in the 3 hole. This is his 2nd draft. That's what the parentheses do. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, pretty well-balanced start. And this is where the draft gets interesting. I think the 4th round, probably one of the most important parts of the draft, you want to make sure you get a good pick. I think as far as fourth round guys go, like taking Herbert or Lamar or Mahomes in that round, like, you're getting a good player. So I don't knock that. As far as the tight ends in the fourth round, I think Darren Waller is a really good pick. And sometimes Waller falls all the way down to the end of the fourth round. And I've gotten him at 501, in this range sometimes. So I think getting Waller in the fourth round, if you want tight end early, that could be very fruitful as well. But we're on deck. You start to see some receivers fly off the board: Bateman, Robinson, Cooks, Juju. So we kind of get hit on a lot of those guys. And now we're up here with 20 seconds to make the pick. I've been a big fan of Darnell Mooney. Mooney's one of my top 20 receivers. I like him more than Metcalf, Judy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm kind of into the Moon Man. I like George Kittle, but again, I think at this point, I'd rather – I know I'm getting a top 20 wide receiver. Bears aren't going to win too many games this year, guys. They're going to be tearing it up, getting lots of negative game scripts where they have to throw the ball. So Jesse had to dip from this chat. He's going to continue to make his picks though. So we'll be rocking this solo. Thank you for hanging out with us for tonight. If you guys are still here, like the video, subscribe, all that new stuff if you are new. And shout out to Callie hanging out with us tonight. But yeah, so far, Austin Ekeler, Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, and then we got Big Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney. I'm probably going to start throwing some hammers at wide receivers at this point. There is a couple guys that I like in round six. Round six is an interesting round. There's some good quarterbacks on the board sliding here. You got Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes is his ADP is dipping. You see, he's got an ADP of 52. About 2 weeks ago, he was mid-fourth round, and he's starting to slide all the way to the end of the fifth round. So I think Mahomes is starting to present some value for us here. And again, 52 overall ADP. It's pick 59 right now. So maybe Jesse will take a slap here at Mahomes or Kyler Murray. And Murray's a guy that's starting to inch up. He just got that contract. His ADP is now at about 59.5. And lately, Kyler Murray, you used to, like a week or two ago, it used to be beginning of round six, and there goes. I think Jesse might have auto picked that one, but he can't be mad with Mahomes. And we'll see what this guy does at the end here. He's got the heavy 4 running back start: Najee, Swift, Connor, Etienne. He's probably going to gobble up some receivers or potentially Adam Thielen and Elijah Moore. And at that point, he's just trying to shotgun, shrapnel, get the buck bullet in there and get as many receivers as he can. So we're shaping up round six. Top QBs on the board: Murray and Jalen Hurts. Those guys are priorities in round six. I love them. As far as receivers, it's a tricky round for wide receivers. I do like Renfro, but Gage is going to come down now that Julio Jones signed with Tampa. Devonta Smith, Drake London. Again, I don't really know if I trust these guys with my 6th round pick. I'd rather almost take Christian Kirk because I know he's going to be the number 1 for Trevor Lawrence. And then the tight ends like Dalton Schultz, he has a 68 ADP. I don't know if I love that. Maybe we wait on tight ends and see if we can find someone at the back end. And then running backs, it's setting up to be a really interesting running back year because the rounds about 6 through 9, there's a ton of look at this list. There's a ton of running backs that I like on this list. We already have Ekeler, Javonte, Breece Hall, so we don't need running back here. But man, if we can land A.J. Dillon here, I think that's going to set us up very, very nicely. And now I'm just starting to take a peek at my other members here. You kind of got to protect yourself on the board and be just cognizant of what the other drafters have, because if these guys needed receivers or running backs or something, that tells me what to do with my pick. And A.J. Dillon goes pick number 66. There goes J.K. Dobbins. And now we're looking at a bunch of questionable guys: Russell Gage, Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, Dalton Schultz, Antonio Gibson. I'm going to probably reach a little bit here to a guy that I'm super bullish on. That's going to be Christian Kirk. You can get him at wide receiver 3 prices, but I have a feeling this dude, he was talking, I think, with Peter King the other day from SI, Sports Illustrated. I think this was yesterday. And the expectation is he's going to flirt with 80 catches as a floor, maybe upwards of 90 catches. And the kicker with Kirk is going to be how many touchdowns he can catch. And right now, if you're watching this, I did put my guy Trevor Lawrence as the thumbnail picture. So I like what the Jags are doing on offense. I like what new coaching staff's bringing. They're going to pass the ball a lot. I did some digging into Doug Peterson's history. His last 4 years with the Philadelphia Eagles, we kind of considered him as like a running back by committee coach. But he ended up throwing the ball 58% of the time and running 42%. So there's going to be a ton of passing attempts, and just the cheapness of a Jacksonville Jaguars potential lineup here. So we'll target Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to put a star on him down here. Maybe he can be our QB2 for us. And then we'll kind of pepper in maybe Evan Ingram and maybe a couple other targets there, whether it's Marvin or Zay Jones. But we're moving here. Matt Boehm gets the Joe Burrow, a naked Joe Burrow here. And then Antonio Gibson. I think round 7, Antonio Gibson starting to feel about right. There was a good report about him dropping weight and becoming more burst, more, just ready to pop a little bit more off the field. We're up to pick again: Russell Gage, Tony Pollard, Mike Thomas, Miles Sanders, Russell Wilson, Allen Lazard. I don't have anybody that I can stack with. I do like some of the quarterbacks available yet. But Allen Lazard is becoming a value for me. I don't have a Packer yet, so I'll go ahead and slap Allen Lazard. Like Aaron Rodgers has already come out and said he's our wide receiver 1. And then in one of my other videos, I did some digging. In full PPR, Aaron Rodgers throughout his career, the lowest his best receiver has finished in full PPR is like wide receiver 26. Might have been wide receiver 26 and 28 one year when it was Randall Cobb and James Jones. I believe that was the year Jordy Nelson got hurt preseason. So worst case scenario, I think I'm getting a top 30 wide receiver there in Allen Lazard. And just to show you, so I do have Christian Kirk here as my wide receiver 27 in my numbers, and then there's Allen Lazard, my wide receiver 29. So I have 2 top 30 guys there that could end up being top 25 wide receiver 2s. We do have Mooney here at my wide receiver 18, and then we did top it off with Mike Williams, who I have as a top 10 wide receiver. So pretty well balanced: Ekeler, Javonte, and Breece Hall, and then we got some fun high upside picks at the wide receiver position. And just looking at the rest of the 7th round, you see it's kind of it's a mixed bag. Nothing really positional heavy here. 3 wide receivers go. Kadarius Toney starting to inch up the board. MVS round 7, he's inching up the board as well. And then again, I talked about the running backs, starting with like AJ Dillon. Like there's a lot of good upside running backs here: Dillon, Dobbins, Jacobs, Mitchell, Gibson, Sanders, Tony Pollard. Like these guys are all top 30 backs, like guaranteed. So if you wanted to, I think there's a strategy in play, like where, like this guy right here, Team Josh, like he went heavy running back. He got a big King Henry to start his draft, and then he waited and he hits on an AJ Dillon to be his RB2, and he'll probably pepper in some more guys along the way. But that's very intriguing to me. And as we move into the 8th round, it looks like Jesse is hammering some he's hitting the Chiefs stack here. He's got old Pat Mahomes, a little MVS, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I'm intrigued with that. We'll see if he can add another. Maybe he's probably set up for Sky Moore at this turn here, so we'll be cognizant of that. And then we'll see at Matt Boehm. Matt Boehm's probably going to line up maybe Tyler Boyd at one of these picks. Chris Olave. We got to take a minute to talk Chris Olave, because a lot of people are interested in Michael Thomas, but again, we haven't seen him in a year and a half. It's been a weird ankle injury. He's still on the PUP list, but all the reports so far for New Orleans campus, Chris Olave is the real deal. He could lead the team in receiving yards, touchdowns, all that stuff here. And he is a guy that 2 weeks ago, like he was going mid-10th round, and he's climbing boards. Even last week, I had to tweet that he was now in the top 100 of ADP, and now he's cracking the top 90. So he's an 8th round pick, one of the biggest risers that I've seen in the last couple weeks or so. But we're moving and grooving here. Round 8 pick coming up soon. There's some quarterbacks here. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I don't have anybody to stack him with. I guess I could wait and see about Tim Patrick or Albert O or Greg Dulcich here. But just looking at the board, Wilson's got an 80 overall ADP. I picked 92, so that's a pretty good value right here. I don't love it because I'm going to have to end up stacking him naked, but I think I have to collect this 12 pick discount on a potential top 5 quarterback. And where do I have Russ Wilson? I do have Russ Wilson just outside the top 5. He's my QB6 this year. I have him throwing 36 touchdowns, almost 4,600 yards. So getting the value there on Russell Wilson feels really, really good. And then just as you look across the rest of the 8th round, there's a lot of juice left in here. I mean, I don't love Garrett Wilson. I don't love Treylon Burks. But some of the running backs in here are fun. The 8th round still has a lot of value. And it looks like Matt Boehm went with Dallas Goedert, and we'll see what he does here at pick number 99 overall. And then as we get into the 9th round, a lot of running backs still here. Devin Singletary, a lot of people like Rashad Penny. I think at this price, round 9, round 10, I'm open to Penny. I don't love the situation for Seattle. I know he balled out last year, but if you look at the schedule, it was against some shitty teams. Like we're talking Houston, Detroit, Chicago, and then Arizona didn't have to play, or they didn't really show up that last week, and he ran for like 3 touchdowns. So Singletary, Penny, You got James Cook here, a really fun pick. We're on the board right now. The fact that I can get Devin Singletary here feels pretty stupid. So I think that has to be my pick. He's going to be the lead back still in Buffalo. And not only am I getting the lead back in Buffalo, he's going to lead the team in carries and probably rushing touchdowns. If not, Josh Allen will. But getting Singletary there as my RB4, he'll pop off at times. And he's still going to lead the team in carries. So I'm totally cool with Singletary there, especially like as our RB4. And I think at this point now we can begin around 10 through 12. Maybe we'll start looking at receivers and tight ends. And then I do really, really want to potentially line up Trevor Lawrence here to be our QB2. His buy is different from Russ Wilson. So he's our ideal QB2. He goes about 136. So I might have to take him at 125 here, but we'll kind of line that up. And as far as receivers now, I would love to take a wide receiver here. We'll look at the value and see what other players fall. But I got to assume my man Jesse's going to get Sky Moore here and just continue that massive Chief stack that he's got brewing. We'll see what he does. Mahomes, MVS, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I'm assuming this pick is going to be Sky Moore if he can get him. But look at this, the quarterbacks here, Matt Stafford, Derek Carr. I mean, we're about to end the 9th round, and there's still a lot of good QBs available. Rodgers, Cousins, Fields, like these guys are all going to be potentially putting up quarterback 1 weeks. And Jesse does go ahead and collects Sky Moore. The Chiefs stack is super cheap this year. Like if you can get Mahomes round 5, you can get, MVS, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Sky Moore. He might even go after Mecole Hardman in the 11th and 12th round. But our guy that interesting start here, the guy at the 12 spot starts 4 running backs, and then he comes back with 5 or 6 straight wide receivers. So that's kind of the way. Sometimes you got to take what the board gives you. And I don't think he was happy to take Connor and ETN here, but it just is what it is at that turn. And he'll hopefully target some QBs and tight ends soon. We'll see what Jesse does here. He doesn't have a tight end yet. I don't know if one sticks out to him. He gets James Cook. James Cook is interesting because this is the guy that sometimes he goes in the top 100. So to get him at 110, I do like the value on James Cook. And as of right now, it sounds, as far as Buffalo Bills training camp goes, it sounds like Singletary's got the job on the 1s. They're letting Zach Moss get reps with the 2s. And then it sounds like James Cook is strictly running with the 3s, but he does get reps, I think, with all QBs. And as I can just look at the color scheme right now, too. A lot of green coming into the 9th and the 10th round. A lot of green running backs here. James Cook, Melvin Gordon, Kenneth Walker. Let's see what else we can find here. Zach Ertz is still on the board. I wouldn't mind getting him as a potential tight end anchor for us. And we're getting a big value on him, too. He's 107 pick, 107.6. Hopefully this guy takes him so I don't have to worry about it. But he's already got Mark Andrews. Getting a guy like Tim Patrick here to pair with my Russell Wilson makes sense. It's right on ADP. It's tough for me. I know Zach Ertz is probably the pick I should make, but for stacking purposes, I suppose I'm going to go with Tim Patrick here. But let it be known, I love Zach Ertz this year, especially to start the season. No DeAndre Hopkins. You got Marquise Brown. You got Rondale Moore. There's going to be a lot of short and intermediate targets for Zach Ertz, and I think he's going to be a guy that gets you off to a hot start. If you wait till tight end, round 10 tight end, and look at all these guys except team number 2 have a tight end. We'll see what Matt Boehm does here if he pairs Goddard with Zach Ertz. Those two can't separate themselves from each other if that was the case. But Christian Watson at the end of the 10th round here, I like it. He's a guy that could end up catching 4, 5, 6 touchdowns and get some big plays. And Matt's all of a sudden got Jefferson, Tyreek, Brandon Cooks, and Watson. Got a well-balanced draft so far. He's got a naked Joe Burrow, but Chubb, Monty, Gibson, and Hunt. So far, so good here. Cole Kmet over Zach Ertz, 119 for Cole Kmet. Man, if these guys let Zach Ertz fall to 125, I'm gonna be super happy with that. Because all these guys already have a tight end 1, so they would be technically there goes Zach Ertz. So the value on Zach Ertz, round 11, that might be one of the biggest values of this draft so far. But let's go ahead. We're a few picks away now. We got to start queuing up our guys. As far as quarterbacks go, I think I might be able to wait for Trevor Lawrence at pick 140, as I should probably, I'm going to just kind of zoom out here. See, everyone's got a quarterback except this 12 team here. And a couple of these teams do have 2 QBs. So for Lawrence right now, who just went off the board, never mind. I can't complete that one. So we'll look around here and see what we can find. I do like, again, I have filtered by ADP. Nyheim Hines would be a really good fit for us. We have Russ Wilson, so I'm not going to jump the gun on another quarterback. But man, Kirk Cousins, his ADP is 114. He should be off the board. Technically, Justin Fields should be off the board by now as well. But this is setting us up nicely for Nyheim Hines here. And maybe we could potentially load up a Matt Ryan, Nyheim Hines stack situation. But Nyheim Hines, like all the reports are coming out that Nyheim Hines is going to be heavily involved. He said himself he wants to set a career high in receptions. I don't know what he had total last year, but he's going to pop off for a handful of games. And I think it just sounds like when you listen to the Colts people talk, they're just very excited about what Matt Ryan is bringing to the organization. And last year was almost the worst year of Nyheim Hines' career. Only 40 receptions. He's had 63 and 63 reception seasons. You look at his ADP or his fantasy points per game, 10.1, 6.7, 12, and a 6.9. Looks like he's on a trend here for a double-digit PPR season here. So I think he could be the second or third leading receiving guy there in terms of reception. So I like snagging Nyheim Hines there. And I think our running back room is looking pretty good. I feel pretty strongly about Ekeler, Javonte, Breece, Singletary, and Hines. Maybe we can find one guy late in the final rounds here, but I'm liking that. Need some more receivers. We got Mike Williams, Mooney, Kirk, Lazard, and Patrick. But now we can start to kind of focus on some tight ends. It makes sense. Maybe if we could find a way to get Albert O and pair him with the rookie Greg Dulcich here, that wouldn't be a bad idea because Dulcich is kind of a free square at the round 18, 19. What's up, Justin? Hope you're doing well. We're just having a fun live best ball draft here. I got a couple guys in here with me. My guy Jesse here drafting the 11th spot. He's got a nasty Chiefs stack going. Mahomes, MBS, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Sky Moore. And then he goes and gets my Albert Okwuegbunam as his tight end one. So interesting, but I like what he's got going on. Tight ends are starting to come off the board. And interestingly enough, tight ends are not really high on the ADP chart here. So some guys like Madison, Gallup, Tua, Jamison Crowder, Darrell Henderson, a lot of these guys are starting to fall. And yeah, I'm big on Njoku this year, especially once we get that Deshaun Watson suspension. Once it comes out, and I think on the worst end, it's probably going to be 6 games. It's potential to be a 4 or 6 game, or maybe nothing at all. Maybe they're not able to suspend him at all this season until next year. But I think Njoku, definitely a guy that intrigues me. I like Evan Ingram late, even Hayden Hurst. Bengals tight end's going to be busy, and I got some sleepers down here in Brevin Jordan. But we'll see if we can snag some of these guys here. I even like Gerald Everett. But as it goes so far, we're going to be up to picking a second. Guys that stick out to me, we got Crowder, Henderson, Carter, Pat Freiermuth, Isaiah Spiller. We could back up Ekeler, but we're pretty strong there at that position. Looks like Josh Palmer just went. I was thinking about Josh Palmer. That would have been a nice pick there for sure. So we're picking 140th overall. I don't really care about ADP at this point, so I kind of just want to get. We got 12 for the league. I think so. I think if anything, we need one more. I just need to hear back from one more person, and we might be able to fill that league up for sure. But man, this is a tough pick here. I kind of like DJ Chark at this point. He's a guy that he's gonna get a lot of playing time as the deep threat for Jared Goff. We don't know when Jameson Williams is going to be back. It's going to be a while. I could take a guy like Pat Freiermuth here to kind of be our anchor tight end, but I'm very interested in getting DJ Chark on my lineups. He played well last year in 2 games, and then he had that freak injury. I think it was on Thursday Night Football. But we'll collect DJ Chark there to be our wide receiver 6. That'll also set us up for potential Jared Goff there at the end. But I'm just looking around, like Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston. We don't get any Saints receivers. I'm intrigued with Matt Ryan maybe on the come around. We'll see if we can snag him. Awesome. That's great. And yeah, I have to hear back from one more guy, but we do run a free Superflex league on ESPN. If you're listening to this and want to get in contact with me about it, let me know. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. And if you are still listening and are watching this playback here, check it out, theFellowKGB@gmail.com. And let me know. I can send you the invite, and we're going to be drafting on that Labor Day Monday, Labor Day, so a few days before the season opener. Yeah, I did see the Winston over Dak thing. I don't know if I agree with that. Winston's fun, but I think Dak has proven himself to be pretty reliable lately. it's just been a kind of a toxic environment around him. But man, Pat Freiermuth still on the board. They're just kind of begging me to take him. So I guess I'll take Pat Freiermuth to be my tight end one. We'll find some fun tight ends later in the draft. Njoku's got a round 9 bye, but that doesn't really bother me. We can go with 3 tight ends with this lineup. But Matt Boehm, let's recap our number 3 spot here with Matt Boehm. See what he's got brewing. He started his draft with Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill, sneaky wide receiver duo, both top 10 guys, potentially top 5 guys too. Who knows? But then Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, should be a lot of volume for those guys. Brandon Cooks, Joe Burrow, Gibson, Goddard, Hunt, Watson, Hardman, and Matt Ryan and Robert Tonyan. So he's having fun. Sounds like a pretty solid, well-balanced draft to me. And then as we get to Jesse here at the end, let's see what he has got. Let's see what he's got lined up. He needs a QB2, maybe another tight end 2. And yeah, we're going to be in that free fellowship league. We're going to be doing 25 to first. Basically, you win, you get the $25, and it's just a free league. But I like participation, and I like. I don't know if you watch my videos. I appreciate you hanging out and playing fantasy football with us. So a free $25 if you do win the league. And last year it was fun. It was fun. I think a lot of people didn't play Superflex before. A new wrinkle here, and if you've never played Superflex before, really fun having 2 quarterbacks, sometimes 3 quarterbacks to weigh your options against. But my man Jesse gets Jameis Winston here at pick 155. I think that's straight on with his ADP, and we'll see if he comes back with a tight end or something here. Maybe Gerald Everett. I'm going to call this one Gerald Everett. I have a feeling here. He could probably have a nice tight end duo here with Gerald Everett and Albert O. But yeah, we're moving and grooving into the 14th round. We got 6 more picks to make, and at this point, like we're pretty well built out. I think I want to get some more receivers and a couple more tight ends to compete with Freiermuth for sure. And then that quarterback, I'm not really too concerned about who my number 2 is. I feel good about Russ Wilson being there all season for us. Thoughts on the Steelers? Steelers are going to struggle. The Steelers have arguably the worst offensive line in the entire league. I know the Bears just signed a pretty good player today. That's probably going to put the Steelers as one of probably the worst offensive line in the league. And you're going from Ben Roethlisberger down to Mitch Trubisky. I think you're going to see them become more inefficient. The defense is still good, so they're still going to be able to run the ball and get a lot of attempts for Najee Harris. But after that, I'm nervous. Deontay Claypool, Pickens. I think Freiermuth is safe because it's tight end position. It's such low hanging fruit at that spot where he can still be a hit for us. But either way, I'm nervous about the Steelers. I don't see them having – they're going to be fighting for 7-8 wins this year. I'm going to go ahead and snag Gerald Everett here. The Chargers tight end, man, it's been successful with Herbert the last 2 seasons. You talk about Hunter Henry in Herbert's rookie year. Jared Cook last year caught some touchdowns, and we're just going to pair Freiermuth with Gerald Everett there. But yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous on the Steelers, man. They could finish – they could find themselves last in that AFC North this year. Bengals are going to be hot. Ravens are going to be hot. And the Browns, especially when they get Deshaun Watson, they're going to be a hot team to beat. I just want to shout out one of my favorite picks here. Lately, it's been Darrell Williams. And I was doing some research. The Cardinals running back, they got room for 2. Like the last few seasons, they've been a 2-back system. You talk about Chase Edmonds last year with James Conner. Both those guys were getting double-digit points a lot of the times that they played together. So there is room for 2. And if you are nervous about taking James Conner, you should be taking Darrell Williams. I know there's some other running backs there, but they paid Darrell Williams to be there. They drafted Keontae Ingram. They still have Eno Benjamin there, but Darrell Williams, he was the top 24 running back last year in the Chiefs offense. So if anything happens to Connor, I love protecting it with Darrell Williams. So we're almost up to pick here. Matt goes and gets Hayden Hurst. He's got 3 tight ends now. He's got Goddard, Tonyan, Hurst, and he finally got his first Bengal to pair with Joe Burrow. So good to see that. But we're almost on the clock here. As far as QBs go, Goff is the top-rated one here. We're right in line with ADP. I could go ahead and slap Jared Goff here. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get Jared Goff because, one, let me just double-check his bye week. It's week 6. Russell Wilson's is week 9. Goff's they're going to throw the ball around. I do have DJ Chark. Maybe I can find one more potential late guy there. What round for Darrell? Kind of like him. In a best ball league, I mean, he's going, 165 here. Let me just double check his ADP. I think that's kind of right in line with where he's going. And again, I think my thinking of if you're nervous about James Conner going down, like you should be interested in Darrell Williams because He's a good football player. He's not an elite talent, but he's a solid. He's kind of like he's a better version of Jamal Williams, where if something happens, Jamal is going to hold the fort down. But Darrell Williams going about 173. That's his ADP here, which would put him, basically in the 14th, 15th round. And if you're drafting, your redraft leagues, if you're drafting the redraft leagues, like he's going to be a guy you can get with like your second to last pick. He's basically free. So I don't know what ESPN or Sleeper got him at ADP, but he's going to be kind of free at the end of your drafts. And yeah, Mac Jones. I think we should expect some growth from Mac Jones in the passing game. Like this is probably one of the best receiving weapon groups that we've seen in New England for a while. You got Jacoby Myers, the PPR machine. You have Hunter Henry, the touchdown machine. You got Devontae Parker to supply some big plays. Kendrick Bourne to supply some big plays. And then they go out. I mean, they still have Nelson Aguilar. They went up and they got their speedster and Tyquan Thornton. And Jonnu Smith is still there. So a lot of passing weapons. I think Mac Jones could be a really fun, solid QB2 this season. And Jesse goes and gets Kendrick Bourne there at 179. So we're having fun. Swift and Jamal. Yep, same thing. Yeah, if you get Swift, like if you're nervous about Swift's health, you should be on Jamal Williams. And at this point, Jamal Williams, he went 166th overall. So to handcuff some of these guys who, yes, DeAndre Swift, he's never played a full season. I think he's usually good for 13, 14 games, but you could easily just get Jamal Williams and you get pretty much everything covered for free. So I like that. I'm interested in stacking elite pass catching backs with their quarterbacks. Like if I have Ekeler on my team. If I could have got Herbert, that would have been fun. If you get a DeAndre Swift, I think getting a Jared Goff as your QB2 could be a lot of fun. And talk about like Alvin Kamara with Jameis Winston or Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, things like that. That could be a lot of fun there as you get the best pass catching back and a good quarterback. And yeah, Darrell Williams, man, good player. I just want to I'm pretty sure last year he was like RB22 or something. And that's, keep in mind, like he was splitting time with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon at times. So it's kind of a very similar situation for him. And yeah, last year RB21 ended up scoring 8 touchdowns. Maybe not as many this year, depending on James Conner, of course. But I do like Darrell Williams. He's kind of catnip for coaches. Jesse gets Carson Wentz to pair with his Terry McLaurin and his Jahan Dotson. So he's got a nice Washington stack paired with a really fun Kansas City Chiefs stack there. So I'm liking what he's got going on. As far as what I'm looking at, I mean, I got Wilson and Goff. I don't really know if there's that many Broncos or Lions left for me to draft. So I'm probably just going to take BPA here. As far as running backs go, I like Chris Evans in this range. Wide receivers, nobody sticks out to me at this range. Tight ends, I'm going to slap Brevin Jordan here as my tight end 3. I kind of missed some of the guys there that I was looking at, but Brevin Jordan, especially with now that, John Mechie is basically lost for the year with leukemia. I hope he gets ready and healthy for 2023 purposes. But there's a lot of opportunity in Houston with Brandon Cooks being the lead target. After that, Nico Collins is a guy here who Jesse ended up getting in the 14th round. A lot of people are getting excited for Nico Collins, but Brevin Jordan's going to be the number 3 target man in Houston. So I think he showed a lot of promise at the end of last year, and I'm getting him as my tight end 3. I really don't care at that point. And now that I have 3 tight ends, Freiermuth, Everett, Jordan, I feel pretty good about that group. My running back group is Ekeler, Javonte, Breece, Singletary, Nyheim Hines. Like I feel pretty good about that group. We'll probably just snag some wide receivers the rest of the way out. And I got a bunch of guys that I like here. It looks like Isaiah McKenzie's ADP is going through the roof too. He used to be in the 200s. Now he's 175. Brandon Cooks, I love with John out. And yeah, I mean, Cooks was going to be good either way. I think Mechie was going to be kind of the slot guy. And if you think about slot, Brevin Jordan, a tight end, could occupy more of the middle of the field. So I think there's room for Brevin Jordan to be a fun hit. And yeah, Connor's very easy to draft for me now that I've discovered Darrell Williams' ADP. So we're on the board here. Not a lot of players I love here. I could take KJ Hamler, but I don't absolutely love it. As far as running backs go, it's kind of an ugly group here. If I take KJ Hamler here, I'm kind of just snagging another Broncos receiver here just in case. So I got KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, and Russ Wilson there. So I'm not at least I got a few Broncos to root for if that stack is going to hit. And I just want to double check. Let me see what other lines are potentially out there. Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. Maybe Reynolds could be a guy. He's going to probably be their number 3 receiver to start the year. And Ross St. Brown, DJ Chark, and then Josh Reynolds. This was a guy that actually played pretty well when he finally got on the team. He had 1, 2, 3 double-digit games, a couple touchdowns with Jared Goff. He could be the number 3 in the Lions set. Lions, our lads. Let's look at the depth chart here. I mean, they got Jameson Williams here at the right receiver, but Josh Reynolds is his backup. So getting a guy like Josh Reynolds intrigues me as far as Jared Goff stacks. Just, who knows, maybe he catches 3-4 touchdowns before Jameson Williams comes to town. But let's go ahead and just hit star on him. Let me see if I can find a couple other guys to just shout out for you. One of my favorite round 20th picks right now, and it ties into the Buffalo Bills backfield. It's been Zach Moss. I want to be responsible for getting Zach Moss's ADP on the board. And I love James Cook. But if anything happens to Devin Singletary, it's going to be Zach Moss being the primary ball carrier, I think, or some kind of 50-50 split. James Cook is always going to be the pass catching back for sure. But getting Zach Moss free at the end of my drafts, I already got Singletary. Might as well make it a perfect pair there. And then with 3 picks left, I know I'm going to get Moss round 20. I'll go ahead and maybe snag 2 more receivers here. And yeah, what about TJ Hawkinson? I love Hawkinson. I don't love the value for where he's going. So round 8 is tough. I guess I don't hate it. But look at the quarterbacks. I mean, you got Trey Lance, Prescott, Russell Wilson, receivers, Allen Lazard, Russell Gage, kind of in that neighborhood. It's hard for me to take TJ Hawkinson. And he's never really been a perfect bill of health either throughout his career. He's kind of been a frustrating player to own for fantasy. He did start the year really strong last year, but getting TJ Hawkinson, I think, in best ball and then coming back with some guys later makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that Lions offense, man, I think a lot of people have come around to being excited about that Rams or that Lions offense. I'm going to grab one of my favorite players here, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Just a big play receiver, especially if Deshaun Watson's coming back. You got kind of a Will Fuller mold. I think that could be nice here. We're still waiting to see if the Browns had been rumored to be in on signing a receiver here, but I mean, Mari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell. After that, though, they really don't have a number 4 receiver. So I'm kind of intrigued in seeing if they're going to get some of their receivers to fall their way. But we're almost done here with this draft. I think I'm going to snag the Lions guy here, Josh Reynolds, to end my draft. Just to kind of get another exposure to the Detroit Lions passing game with Jared Goff. I got a couple wrinkles there for Russell Wilson at least. And did Greg Dulcich go off the board yet? He is right here at 225. He could be a fun pick. Maybe I take him just to get another Broncos player. And maybe I'll just forego Zach Moss. I feel really good about Ekeler, Javonte, Breece, Singletary, Hines. I forgot about Javonte with my Russell Wilson stack. So that's going pretty well for me. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. If you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe. And again, if you want to play in our free fantasy football league, I think I have 1 spot left. I'll double check and send out that email and see if he still wants to play. But I think I have 1 spot left. It's a super flex league, 12 team. It's on ESPN. So come play with us if you are interested. We're going to wrap up here with Greg Dulcich. I got 4 tight ends, whatever. Freiermuth, Everett, Brevin Jordan, Dulcich. I think it's interesting because sure, one of my tight ends could hit that week and that he's going to fill that tight end spot, but some of these guys could compete for my flex spot too. So I'm very intrigued with that. And then our walk-off pick will be between Zach Moss and Josh Reynolds here. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, I like this squad here. I want to look at Matt Bame's team. He's got Joe Burrow, Matt Ryan as his QBs, running backs, Nick Chubb, Monty, Gibson, Hunt, Evans, and Zamir White. That's a pretty good looking group of running backs there. I think he's going to be fine for the whole season. And the receiver room, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Cooks. That's a studly trio there to start. And then he's got some daggers here. He's got Watson, he's got Mecole Hardman, Jameson Williams, Randall Cobb, and Sammy Watkins. So that's fun. He doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, but he's got pretty much all of his weapons that could catch touchdowns. So I'm into that. And then he finishes with Goddard, Tunyon, and Hayden Hurst. Let's see what Jesse's got cooking. Mahomes, Winston, and Wentz. He's got some nasty stacks brewing here. The Chiefs stack here, he's got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, MVS, Sky Moore. And then on the Washington side of things, people are sleeping on the Washington Redskins or the Washington Commanders offense to get Wentz at that value. and pair him with his receivers, Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. Feels like pretty good money to me. A perfect draft here. He goes and gets John Bates, the starting tight end, week 1 for the Washington Commanders. If he's listening to this, he knows what's up. But anyways, we're almost guaranteed to get one of our guys here, Josh Reynolds or Zach Moss. And with that pick, I'm just hoping that, they'll score for us maybe 3 or 4 times, get some double-digit games in there. Low-hanging fruit. He goes with Adam Troutman to get with his Jameis Winston. And we know Winston loves tight ends. I think Taysom Hill's an interesting guy. He had that nasty injury at the end of last year, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go. So Taysom Hill and Adam Troutman are going to be competing for tight end duties, but Troutman's the clear better pass receiving option there at tight end. So we'll see Winston and his tight ends. That's been a good connection for the most part, going back all the way to Florida State. So I like that pick there. And yeah, round 20, we'll make this pick and then we'll get out of here for tonight. Check out that 2022 draft kit. If you want to play on drafters.com, you can get a $10 sign up bonus. Use the link in the description below. You put in like $12, something, $10-12, you'll get a free $10. And then you can draft with us. So we'll go here. I'm going to take Josh Reynolds and we'll call it a day. So there is my recap. Russell Wilson, Jared Goff. Running back room is small, but Ekeler, Javonte, Breece Hall, Singletary, Nyheim Hines, I feel pretty strong about that. All the buys are different. The receiving room, Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney, Kirk, Lazard, Patrick, Chark, Hamler, DPJ, and Josh Reynolds. And then we finished it with 4 fat tight ends, Freiermuth, Everett, Jordan, and Dulcich. So that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for your time. Have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you later. Peace.